Greetings, ICO fans. Matthew Kramer here with another Mocktails and Masterpieces. The ICO season opener is just around the corner, and I'm delighted to be joined in this session by a dear friend and brilliant collaborator. Joshua Thompson is with us. Joshua, great to see you.
Good to be here. Good morning. And yeah, you guys have a bunch of stuff going on. It's exciting to be a part of it. So thank you.
And you definitely are involved. We're delighted to announce that you are the ICO's creative partner beginning this season, and so many wonderful projects that we've already achieved together. We're hard at work at, and then a lot of things in the future that we're looking forward to. But I thought we'd take this opportunity. If there's anybody that's tuned in right now, maybe unfamiliar with your background, your musical beginnings, maybe you could tell us a little bit about growing up in Indianapolis and your early musical memories.
Absolutely. So as you said, I'm born and raised here in Indianapolis, and music all started for me formally at the age of 5. So I picked up piano and really just took to it and absolutely enjoyed it, so much so that at the age of 10, I took up the practice of classical trumpet. And I originally thought and envisioned that I would be a professional trumpet player in symphony orchestra. So I did my undergraduate studies at DePaul University and their School of Music, but left the School of Music probably around like my sophomore year to pursue a degree in sociology. And I'm kind of glad that I did, because that really set the landscape for how I was going to be able to fuse social sciences and history with music and education in what I do now. And so it's been a really fun, albeit non-linear process. And that's how I kind of came to be here. But, you know, as a young kid, always going to concerts with the ICO, with the ISO, going to Ravinia festivals. And my parents were just very, very supportive, and just immersed myself and my siblings in as much creative and musical offerings that the city had to offer, which there were a lot. And it's awesome because there's even more now. And it's fun to be a part of that trajectory of arts and culture here in Indianapolis.
And music runs in the family. I believe your brother is also a very fine musician. Is that not right?
He is. I have an identical twin brother named Joshua Thompson. He is a brilliant saxophonist, jazz saxophonist, composer, band leader. And I have an older sister who, honestly, my brother and I have to credit her for our music interest, because she started piano and clarinet first, and she was just an amazing musician. And she currently sits on the board of directors for the Dallas Wind Symphony in Dallas, Texas. So it's a family affair. We all kind of get in on it.
Let's talk a little bit about the creative partner position. It's certainly not unique among orchestras. Many orchestras have, say, a composer in residence. I'm down here in New Orleans right now, and they have a creative partner, composer, and a project collaborator. The St. Paul Chamber Orchestra has a number of artists who work collaboratively in developing programs and leading the orchestra. So this position is very free and form to be developed by the orchestra, and certainly is the case where we hope that we're utilizing all of your myriad talents, and we're learning so much about you in the process. But let's talk about some of the things that we have now in the works for this current season, and then we can talk a little later about some of the things that we have down the road. What are some of the things that you're involved in right now with the Chamber Orchestra?
You know, it's quite a lot, and sometimes I have to take time to parcel it out because it's a lot, but it's all fun stuff. Pretty much the overview and the scope of my position as creative partner in residence is to be of assistance to you all and kind of put minds together to further enhance and to develop programming. And then also probably one of the bigger cornerstones would be the music education and community engagement part, which is what I really, really love to do. And so that includes working with public schools here in Indianapolis and even in the state of Indiana, because we did the What Makes Music American last year. And so that program is free to all public schools in the state of Indiana, but kind of ratcheting things up just a little bit this year to get more involved. It's developing music education programming for community centers. Since we do know funding is being taken from schools, there's got to be another way in which we can entrench ourselves to make sure that music education is a part of standard curriculum. And so we are partnering with Flanner House and Eugene and Maryland Glick Community Centers this year. And we have 6-week-long music education programming that we alternate between the two, that's going to focus on like music fundamentals between rhythm and tempo and melody and harmony, musical expression and dynamics, composition basics, And then my favorite is always socio-emotional learning. And I love it because for students who are going to be geared towards music, it's right on the nose. But the wonderful and latent benefit of it is, we're really teaching structure and discipline, time management, and developing creative outlets for conflict resolution, self-expression, and artistry, especially when we really, really do need it. So we're excited to be doing that. And then I also get to put on my little nerd hat, and it's a lot of research for the concerts that the ICO is putting on this year. And so that means developing and creating program notes and just finding really amazing ways to explain to the audience that classical music does not and never has existed in a vacuum. And so you're going to get these lush and gorgeous pieces that really are a reflection of history and the present, and really kind of helps illustrate how classical music's always been relevant. And here in the 21st century, it still is. And there's a lot to say, and just finding many different avenues and perspectives in which to lure and bring folks into the world of classical music. So that's kind of a brief overview, and I might be leaving a few things out, but you'll see them throughout the season for sure.
Very well put. Let's back up to the What Makes Music American program that you referenced. This was, really one of our first collaborations together, and what a marvelous product. It was aired on PBS here in Central Indiana. We're very proud of this project. It was just a thrill to work with you, and the collaborative process of throwing ideas out there. What does make music distinctly American in a country of such rich diversity and cultural influences from all points of the globe? I think we put together a really stellar program, which I'm very proud of. And you not only played a vital role in the construction of the program and, of course, the narration of the program, you also performed in the program. Can you tell us a little bit about the American program, but also your distinct role as a performer in it?
For sure. I had so much fun working on this project with you all. It was really fun. I think that's what I value the most about this partnership is it's cool to be in the industry and to play with you all. However, to be an integral part of the development of the programming, I think it's really special, because I'm not sure if that happens all that often. So thank you a million times over for that opportunity. But what we did with What Makes Music American is really kind of strip down that question to the very basics. We always get the usual suspects in Americana music, right? So your Aaron Copland's and Leonard Bernstein and all that. They're fabulous. However, some of these folks are drawing inspiration from other composers who are not European, who are not, Caucasian Americans. Coming from the background that I do, being in the African American community, I'm not sure if it's really all that well known that there were incredible, and still are incredible, composers who definitely contributed to this authentic American sound. And it's authentically American because it's drawing from our own background. So we reference Harry Burleigh, we reference in relation to Antonin Dvorak, we reference Duke Ellington, like the father of big band and jazz, but he had this wonderful way of incorporating the classical tradition for all of that. And then my personal favorite was the William Grant Still, the second movement from his Africa suite, Land of Romance. And it just adds so much color and texture and depth to the American sound. And it was just so much fun. On the William Grant Still piece, I had a wonderful opportunity to work with a dear friend of mine, Toni Moore. I call her the pint-sized wonder because she's all of 5'2", and she's just this brilliant dancer and choreographer. And we really wanted to add movement and sights to these sounds of this kind of dawn of time and creation in the cradle of civilization, which is Africa, and tracing that lineage and that journey to the Americas to help kind of tell the story of what makes music American. It was such a fun experience. And I was so excited when you all asked me back this year to really build upon that. I think we're absolutely doing that. So
that was a beautiful segment that you recorded, and I want to share it with the audience right now from What Makes Music American. Joshua Thompson with his shoes off performing William Grant Still's Africa. All right, that was wonderful, Joshua. Thanks for sharing that with us. Let's talk about some of the things here that are a little further down the runway in the works, in particular the 23-24 season. You came to us some time ago with an idea for a project that had been, just it moving around in your brain, and it was fascinating to hear you talk about it. And we're working on this, and I think that to see what you're going to come up with and the ideas that you're throwing out there, it sounds like a really multidisciplinary, very engaging project. I don't want you to give it away, but I would love to hear a little bit of a teaser, if you can, for this Origins project that you have.
For sure. This is the special part of this residency for me. So working with programming and music education and program notes, all about it, and then to have an opportunity to premiere an original work of mine with you all is just going to be so special. It's a project that honestly I have had sitting on the shelf for, I think, since about like 2018, so about 4 or 5 years at this point. And it was just a matter of finding the right collaborator in the funding, and we were so close to it. And it really is an origin creation story. It's taking origin stories from the West African diaspora and putting it in a wonderful context for modern day that is using, the instrumentalists from the ICO along with dancers and like graphic design and animation to, make this experience 3D. Like I always say, music and classical music doesn't exist in a vacuum. It has movement. It has all these different moving parts to help tell the story, and stories that most of us are not all that familiar with. And so it's always fun to take something old and make it new again. And I'm just wildly excited. I'm a little nervous. I got to be honest. I'm a little nervous, but that's how I know this project is right where it's supposed to be. Because if I didn't have the nerves, I would be concerned. But I really am just excited to have an opportunity to share this and to do it with such an amazing organization such as the ICO. So it's an honor, and I can't wait for it to have its debut. I really can't.
These conversations have been so much fun, just planning, ideas, brainstorming for the season, because, I'm sure all of you tuning in know that while the current season begins in just a few weeks, the planning for the next season is already underway, some 18 months in advance. So it's always a process of just laying out the wish list for ideas, dreaming big as we have done. And what I also find fascinating, Joshua, is that the ICO has been for many years a collaborator for all of the arts organizations, with all the arts organizations in the city. But now we're reaching out to collaborators that we haven't had the opportunity for. Do you agree that this is an incredible experience in the arts, of sharing your talents with other organizations, getting the energy back as well, and just finding new people that you can work with?
You nailed it. And I think what's been really exciting to watch with the ICO, because I've gone through you all's music library and I know what offerings you have. And truth be told, the collection is really vast and diverse, which is excellent. You guys are ahead of the game already. What I really love about the ICO's community engagement projects is, you have performances that are at Taggart Memorial, at Riverside Park. The more I watch this organization get out into the community, it's like unraveling this onion where there are so many different layers and networks and people with social capital and equity and ways in which to highlight creativity and artistry here in Indianapolis. And you all are really so sincere about doing it. You don't do one-offs with organizations. You maintain and establish these relationships. And I think that's the vital part of it. That's the difference between lip service and being genuine and sincere in your mission of equity, diversity, inclusion, but even just the general mission of sharing classical music and chamber music with audiences familiar and unfamiliar with it. So kudos to you all, and it's going to be exciting to see what happens in the next subsequent seasons.
We're thrilled that you've joined the creative team of the ICO, Joshua. A lot of really brilliant things ahead. Our season opener is coming up here. We've got Jesse Montgomery's Banner, the Schumann Piano Concerto with Kenny Broberg, Hugo Wolf's Italian Serenade, and the the ever popular Mendelssohn Italian Symphony. Yes. More information at icomusic.org, or visit our Facebook page. Joshua, the ICO Creative Partner in Residence, thanks for taking a little bit of time and joining me today.
I appreciate it so much, and here's to the next season.
Thanks, everyone. Marvelous, Josh.